welcome to another video of Parpella. Before going to the video, let me ask you a simple question. What is the difference between a citizen and a resident? I know what you're thinking, isn't that both the same? The answer is no, it's not the same. You might be a citizen of India, you've been born and brought up in this country, but that doesn't mean you're a resident. In the same way, even if you're not a citizen of India, you can end up being a resident. So, what is a residential status? Hi, I'm Ashisha C. Rajan and today we are going to discuss about residential status for income tax. So let's begin with the basic question. What is residential status? Residential status refers to the person's status regarding to the question how long they have stayed in India for the past 5 years. Residential status is different from Indian citizenship. Each taxpayer is classified into 3 categories based on the number of days they have stayed in India in a financial year. The first one is resident, then there is resident but not ordinarily resident, and the third one is non-resident. In every financial year, a taxpayer must determine his or her residential status. A taxpayer who is a non-resident in this financial year might not be a non-resident in the next financial year. Now, let's discuss about resident versus non-resident. An individual will be considered as a resident if any one of these conditions are satisfied. The first one is that if he has been in India for 182 days or more during the financial year, or he has been in India for at least 60 days during the financial year and 365 days during the last 4 years preceding to the financial year. If both the conditions are not satisfied, he will be considered as a non-resident. Let us look at this with an example. Consider the Australian cricket player Steve Smith came to India for playing cricket. He will be considered as a resident if he satisfies any of these above conditions. For example, let us assume that in the financial year 2020 to 2021, he stayed in India for 162 days and the days stayed in the last 4 financial year preceding to the current year, that is in the financial year 2019 to 2020, he stayed for 142 days. In the financial year 2018 to 2019, he stayed for 152 days and in the financial year 2017 to 2018, he stayed for 84 days. And finally, in the financial year 2016 to 2017, he stayed for 112 days. So, the total number of days that he stayed in India for the last 4 financial year will sum up to 490 days. Since he stayed in India for 162 days, first condition is not satisfied as it is lesser than 182 days. Since he stayed for more than 60 days, second condition has to be checked and the total number of days stayed in India for the preceding 4 financial year is 490 days. Here, we can see that the second condition is satisfied as the total number of days stayed in India for the last 4 financial year is greater than 365 days. Thus, he becomes a resident for the financial year 2020 to 2021. I believe with this example, you got a better idea to determine the residential status of an individual. Once an individual becomes a resident, the next step is to determine whether he is a resident and ordinarily resident or a resident but not ordinarily resident. Only individuals and HUF have this category and all other classes or accesses can be either a resident or non-resident. In our previous example, we saw that Steve Smith became a resident for the financial year 2020-2021. Now let's see what are the conditions which can be ascertained whether he is a resident and ordinarily resident or resident but not ordinarily resident. So what are these conditions? He has been a non-resident in India in the 9 out of 10 previous years preceding to the relevant previous years, or he has been in India for 729 days or less during the 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. If any one of these conditions are satisfied, then he is considered as a resident but not ordinarily resident. Now, let us discuss about deemed residential status. This is a new provision that is added to the financial year 2020 to 2021 and is only applicable for an Indian citizen. As per the Act, an Indian citizen having an income other than the foreign income exceeding 15 lakhs during the financial year will be deemed to be a resident if he is not liable to pay tax in any other country, even if he does not satisfy the above conditions. It is important to note that such an individual who is deemed to be a resident will be considered always as a resident but not ordinarily resident. Exceptions are available for conditions. Determination of residential status is explained under the Section 6 of the Income Tax Act. The Act also gives some exceptions. In this, the first one, it is available for Indian citizens or person of Indian origin engaged in an employment or business or profession visits India during the relevant financial year. In these, the category of individuals having an income other than the foreign source of 15 lakhs or less during the financial year, 60 days in the second condition for the determination of the residential status is replaced with 182 days in the Act. That means he will be considered as a resident only when he stays in India for more than 182 days. Here, the Act allows the individual to stay in India a long time, that is more than 60 days but lesser than 182 days. For individuals having an income other than the foreign income for more than 15 lakhs in a financial year, the Act substituted 60 days in the second condition with 120 days, and if such individuals become the resident as per the provision, they will be considered as a resident but not ordinarily resident. The second exceptions are for Indian citizens who leaves India as a member of a crew of an Indian ship or for employment outside India. In these two situations, the individual will be considered as a resident only if he stays in India for more than 182 days in the relevant previous year. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this video was informative and helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye.